I'm Rob Hetherington.
And I'm Judi Hetherington.
And this is our home farm called Walma, 16 kilometres north of Lake King, about 500 kilometres southeast of Perth.
It's broadacre cropping, has been since the turn of the century, and prior to that it was mainly wheat and sheep.
Yeah, when I first took over farming, I could see that things weren't as how they should be. There was lost production and dust storms. You know, you'd have a thunderstorm or heavy rainfall and water would run off, and the soil just didn't seem to be right to me. You know, there was something missing.
In the late 80s and early 90s had some pretty severe health crises. Our first 3 children had chronic illnesses, so I got to piece it together that it must be environmental causing it. So Rob really started to change what was happening on the farm and go more biological and away from the chemical farming.
You can't produce a good product unless you've actually nurtured the soil. They go hand in hand, you can't separate the two. The home farm is part of the original first lot of blocks that were cleared here because it was the heavy soil. The only downside of that they're on the edge of the salt lakes, so it comes with the issue of high sodium in the soil. Primarily I started by putting calcium in the form of limestone out, and then we were ploughing that in and then addressing some trace minerals as well. And just the natural progression of that was that I was never really or hardly ever used fungicides anyway, and with the actual cell wall being increased and the health of the plant, the insecticides didn't need to be used, hardly at all.
You've put way more biological inputs into the system and less chemical. The focus is now on the healthy soil.
We're farming the microbes in the soil, so we always have to be aware that anything that we do, we're looking after them because they look after us. You get the holes there from the earthworms that have been there during the winter time. Anyway, you can see the holes through here, and how the soil is just all beautiful and crumbly. Spend a little bit more now than when I first started farming because I'm aware that the soil needs more of different things. The fertilisation is more broad spectrum. So, you know, that being, you know, some fish and kelp and fulvic and, you know, humates, you know, a bit of MAP and guano and dissolved urea, which I put on as a foliar. So the plant gets a greater suite of benefits from the different types of nutrition.
When you change style, you've got to be prepared that your input costs are going to alter, and the return that you're looking for may not be there initially because you are changing the soil right over from one kind of diet, if you like. We've had 2 good years now, and this year's looking good.
There's obviously lots of education out there now, you know, there's books and podcasts, and then surround yourself with people who've been there and done that and can tell you the pros and cons of what you're going to do and how you think you're going to do it. I guess my end goal is to see the crops all nice and even without stress. These soils here years ago would have been pretty hard, so now because I've balanced the soil with the chemistry and feeding the biology into it, I'm getting the results showing here. If you know what you're doing with the soil and you address the situation well, you get a good outcome. I have progressed in where I first started, and obviously you can't rest on your laurels, so you've got to keep looking for new ways to keep progressing and increasing the actual fertility and productivity of the farm. I think this type of farming is the way of the future now.
Rob has kept farming based on integrity of producing a really good, nutritious product. The goal is to leave the farm debt-free and to leave it nicer than it is for the next generation.